Hello, my name is Ayana Ware, and this is my analytics report on Wolf Sports Network. So, Wolf Sports Network is a student-run radio station on the University of West Georgia campus. Their mission is to teach students of any major to work with radio and with radio broadcasting. They offer a program called Wolf in Training, or the WIT program, and it gives students the opportunity to learn everything that it is that they can about running or participating in a radio station as well as radio broadcasting. So this might include things like learning Adobe Audition or Adobe Premiere, learning how to work a soundboard, and creating your own radio show or your own podcast. I'm the assistant operations manager for both Wolf Radio and for Wolf Sports Network. But specifically, my job is to manage both stations and make sure that the students are working as hard as possible to keep the station up and running. And that includes like helping them create content and, training them on things that they might not know, and just all around making sure that everything is running smoothly. Wolf Sports Network's main target audience is the average college student who is interested in music and in sports. More specifically, their age range is about 18 to 25 for female college students, but for their male audience, it's about 18 to 30, and they don't have to necessarily be college students to tune into those broadcasts. Wolf Sports Network primarily uses Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, but for the purposes of my paper, I'm going to be focusing more so on the YouTube live broadcasts. I've compiled several different live broadcasts from two different radio shows at Wolf Sports Network, Sports Pack and Sports Out of Pocket. I included views, watch time in hours, average view duration, impressions, and impressions click-through rate. I use these metrics specifically to measure the success of our goals and objectives, which you will see later. For their goals, they have three main goals, which is to grow their following, to increase engagement, and to increase impressions. Growing their following, I feel like, is a given, just to make sure that Wolf Sports Network always has an audience, because we cycle through students pretty frequently, and so we want to make sure that we still have the audience to follow through for when new people create new shows and things of that nature. We want to increase engagement because we want to make sure that people are also interacting with the content that is being posted. That includes comments in the YouTube live broadcast, comments in the YouTube videos, as well as comments and shares and things like that for the Instagram Reels and for the YouTube lives and shorts and things of that nature. And the same goes for increasing the impressions. We want to make sure we're reaching as many people as possible, because even though our target audience is primarily college students, especially the 18 to 25-year-old college females, we want to still reach as many people as possible because it is a sports station. They talk about all things sports as well as playing music during those radio shows. So we just want to make sure that as many people are seeing those lives and those posts and the content as possible. And we only have one main objective, but it is to increase views on lives specifically. We are doing pretty fine on engagement when it comes to Instagram posts, Instagram Reels, and lives and things like that. But when it comes to YouTube lives, it can get a little touchy because some people don't really want to stick around for too long when it comes to like hour-long radio shows. Plus, the music isn't being played on YouTube, so we just want to try and create a system where people are staying engaged and staying longer for these broadcasts. To accomplish our goals and objectives, we plan to go live as often as possible. This would help with impressions because our lives will pop up on listeners' feeds consistently. Students were also asked to create content to correspond with the radio show episodes. This would include skits on Instagram, Instagram Reels, stories, regular posts, as well as YouTube Shorts. Creating posts before the live broadcast helps the audience and listeners stay engaged with the content until those live broadcasts and those live radio shows come on air. Consistency helps mainly because the audience can anticipate when their lives are going to be, because these radio shows are typically had on the same day at the same time every single week. It's extremely important that we keep students on this schedule because it helps them regulate when they're going to be going live so that they know when they should be creating content as well. And social media posts being made days before each episode leaves the audience and the listeners who are going to be listening in the future guessing about what those particular episodes are even going to be about. And it encourages those audience and listening members to tune into the show once the radio shows go live and the live broadcast pops up on their YouTube feed as well. In my data, Sports Pack represents video category number 1 and Sports Out of Pocket represents video category number 2. I categorized it this way because these are the two radio shows that I used to demonstrate the evaluation for my social media audit and my analytics report as a whole. In order to achieve the goals and objectives that we have set for ourselves, we trained all of the Wolf Sports Network students on the TriCaster so that they were able to rotate themselves and control the live broadcast from the station. This also gives the students the direct responsibility for maintaining this social media content specifically. It seems pretty easy to create an Instagram post or shoot a video for a reel or a YouTube short, but we needed the students to understand that keeping up with the live broadcast is just as important as the short form content that they are used to creating. The lowest number of views that we have, according to my data, is 61 views, and the highest number is 178. The standard deviation for this is 34.5, which could suggest that there are some inconsistencies with the views from the live broadcast that I've chosen for this data. This can be helped, which I will go into later. The lowest impressions was 113 and the highest was 4,952, while the standard deviation was 1,210. This suggests that there are huge discrepancies and inconsistencies along the impressions from the data that I pulled from, and I believe that this is because the overall increase in popularity of Wolf Sports Network over time, and that the popularity has kind of tripped up the data a little bit in the numbers being extremely inconsistent. Now, I do go into more detail when it comes to analyzing the data that I've pulled from and the evaluation that I got from that. I will just focus on the basics for now. And when comparing the different live categories, Sports Pack and Sports Out of Pocket, there are slightly more views that come from Sports Pack than there are of Sports Out of Pocket. I believe that this is a direct reflection on the need for consistency when it comes to having these live broadcasts on YouTube, because when I was pulling the data, there weren't as many Sports Out of Pocket live broadcasts to choose from because sometimes the Sports Out of Pocket members just would not record or go ahead with those live broadcasts. So it was a little bit difficult for me to pull the data for that side of this analyzation, but I do believe that if we had those numbers, it might have turned out a bit differently. To end my presentation, I want to talk about a couple of things that we might be able to do in the future to help this. First, I believe that we can encourage the students to share their radio show and live broadcast with their friends and family in order to spread out how many people are seeing these things. Additionally, I think that would be good to remind the listeners on the radio shows that there are live broadcasts available on YouTube and on Twitch so that they can increase their views and impressions as well as their engagement. And lastly, I believe it would help to engage with the audience and with the listeners so that the frequent ones that are coming into the lives will be coming back in the future.